Hey y'all, welcome back to SRL Solutions, Self-Reliance Through Preparation. I'm Jeff Hockman. Today's video is one of the most important things out there. I'm coming to you from my storage unit of all my Mylar bags and my cans, my jarred food, and my fireplace and or wood stove, of course mattresses and everything. This is about half my stuff that I'm putting in a place where I can get to it. The reason why I'm doing it from here is to talk about the number one question that I get from people who are beginning preppers, people who have been prepping for years. How much of what do I store? And there's food calculators out there which kind of tell you, okay, how much rice should I have or how much beans should I have, but it's kind of generalized. The video today that you're going to watch, I went and videotaped a friend of mine, Angela Sauer. She owns a healthy bakery. She's a nutritionalist, weightlifter, and her daughter and her actually have the record for the fastest trek of the Appalachian Trail by a female. The video that you're going to see has the information that you need to answer that question, what and how much. Well, not really what, but how much of what. As far as she goes into detail, not by, okay, how many pounds you should have anything, but actually calculate yourself by how many calories per person in your family you want to live off of, and then break that down into fiber, fat, carbohydrates, and protein, and how do you calculate all that by what you already have by the nutritional labels on everything. So this is one of the most important videos you can actually watch because it is so informational. It's long, but it's long because there's so much information packed in it. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you come away with lots and lots of great information. Again, thank you for joining me. Come back, hit subscribe, and I really appreciate you watching this video. Come back as we learn together.
You only have 3 ways that you can survive on caloric food. They're called your macronutrients. You've all heard of them, but there's nothing more and nothing less that gives you calories to keep you alive. It is protein, it is carbohydrates, and it is fat. Those are your macronutrients. Energy comes from no other source to keep you going. Now, micronutrients are all your vitamins and minerals. If you are deficit in macronutrients, you can notice within days or weeks, seriously. Deficiencies in micronutrients might take weeks, months, sometimes even years. So you have to know your macros that you're looking at. We want to figure out how much protein, carbohydrates, and fats we have. Of course, everybody wants to know calories. Everybody has anywhere from a 1,200 to a 2,500 a day basic metabolic rate of the calories you need to survive on an average day. When we were hiking the Appalachian Trail, hiking 12, 17 hours a day, I would eat 9,000 calories a day and not gain weight. So we're talking bugging in scenarios, 12 to 2,000 calories. I went with 1,500. Only 3 kinds of ways that provide calories to us: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. I'll share this at the very end. A protein gram has 4 calories in it. 1 gram of protein has 4 calories in it. 1 protein of carbohydrates also has the same 4 calories in it. 1 gram of fat has 9 calories in it. So the standard American diet has not been our friend. The survival industry has taken it to the next level on steroids. The prepping industry, in light of people not knowing any better than the standard American diet, has allowed a series of companies, not all of them, and I have not taken the time to study all of them yet. I'm only looking at the top 10, 20. And there are some reputable companies with some reputable foods. There are some that have some good foods and some that are selling crap. A lot of the survival companies that are making the biggest money are charging you 4 to 6 times what Whole Foods are. When you want to eat healthy and you come in and say, I get it. This is more expensive than Dunkin' Donuts. I can't afford all grass-fed beef. I can't afford all organic vegetables. I get it. When it comes to survival market, it's flip-flopped. So the standard American diet has not done us any favors. It has made us addicted to what I call crap carbs. If you never ate another crap carb in your life, you would be better for it. We can talk more about what those are, but they've downgraded the importance of protein. The powdered mixes, when I was bodybuilding, people would say, what kind of protein mix do you like? None. It's really hard to super high heat protein or make protein. Protein goes, walks in a field somewhere. Protein's not supposed to be mixed with water in a jug. So when they do that, they kill all the enzymes and it makes it really hard for your body to assimilate. And you can go to NutriShop. Some of these companies got some good products. If you go buy powdered protein, ask someone, you can probably tell if the person behind the counter has any clue what you're talking about. Say, I want a high quality protein that my body's actually going to assimilate. Because just because it says 40 grams on the package, it's going right through you. Because if it doesn't have the live animal or food proteins that God meant to have in it, your body can't absorb it. So, protein's a problem with survival food. We've devalued healthy fats. We've devalued the difference in health that healthy fiber makes. We've got a new neighbor. And it's interesting how God always just gives me little snippets. We just had a conversation, we were talking about class, and he said, man, he goes, that's crazy. He said, because I was just talking with my buddy how he was in Alaska and he had to do MREs for a month. The man got hemorrhoids so bad because the MREs for a month, he couldn't go to the bathroom. Chris is laughing. And I don't have any experience with that. As I, for the first time in 3 weeks, I have become a type of nutrition prepper. And my eyes, I'm just like, all these articles and reading stuff. And the fact that they're selling food that they're not even telling you what's in it quite often. Anyway, so, and of course the ultra processed enzymes, when you sit an apple on the counter and it rots, those are the natural God-given enzymes that are in it. That when it's in your body and you ingest it and assimilate it, those enzymes are what allow your body to break it down and use the micronutrients that, if you study what's in an apple, to use. When you get these foods that say, but they have no enzymes, yes, it was in there, it is in there, but that can't get to you. So it's useless. So, figuring out what's needed. Guns, ammo. I had this picture of guys, you're so precise with, you don't just buy guns and you got rifles, you got shotguns, you got handguns, then you got all this ammo. You just don't get a bunch and throw it in the corner and go, we got a bunch of guns and ammo, we're ready. But with food, everybody's got, hey, just fill that corner up. That's just calories over there. We're good to go. Nobody's taking the time to say, what exactly do we need? And we might never be in a situation where it ever bites us in the butt doing that. If you don't have good quality food, it will bite you in the butt because you're not going to feel good. But if you have, let's say, dehydrated, freeze-dried whole foods, and you have an ample amount of whole foods, and the Tadiums, we get bugged in for 1 month, and you've got enough, and it's only you two. You might never run through all your food because the truth is it doesn't take as much as you think. When I came back and showed Conrad, I'll fix it, show you in a minute here, honey, I said, we've got 6 months of food at 1,500 calories a day. It's this wide, and it's this tall, and it's this deep. And he's like, it's not right. And I said, let me show you. Now it's the, oh crap, we're bugging in. It's not, it's perfect for macros. You'll feel amazing. 39 grams of fiber a day, you're gonna feel great. If you've ever dieted for a bodybuilding show or something like that, it's not fun to be told, this is what you get. You've got 50 grams of split peas and then 50 grams of pinto beans and 1 tablespoon of almond butter. So to have a little bit of bells and whistles with canned fruits and dehydrated fruits and nut butters, I told Conrad, I'm thinking about getting, he loves chocolate. I'm gonna get a 25-pound box of Ghirardelli chocolate. Oatmeal, olive oil, or coconut oil. We might want to take consideration to get non-perishable stuff in the event that there's no power or electricity. Chocolate as well. Snickers. So how do we figure out what's needed? I was just kind of put all this stuff together that everybody is so precise about, but nobody wants to kind of take the time to figure out macros. What's needed? We get to food. Most aren't using the same precision, considering about what I just talked about. How much protein do we need? What kind of protein do we got? Is the protein we have on the label actually something our bodies are going to use? How much fiber do we got? We could have a long conversation on that alone. If you don't have enough fiber, if you don't poop, you're going to feel like poop. That's all I'm saying. How many calories do I need? If I'm stuck eating what I've stored, will I thrive or just barely survive. I don't know about you. If I have it within my power, which I do, this is all I do. I don't know guns. I don't know knives. This is what I do know. What do I got? How do I figure out what I got? Because you don't know what the situation is going to hold. You got neighbors. You got large families. We got to figure out what we have to figure out if we're talking 1,500 calories. How many days do we have for 2 people? What if I have 2,500 calories? The kit that Connor and I had, I did some math. It turns out if you had 25 people at 1,500 calories a day, we got 15 days worth. Stuff like that could matter. So with my split peas, I got a box of 35 pounds. If you got a notepad, or if you want to take pictures of this, you can. You want to take your whole thing that you've gotten. I have a 35-pound box of split peas. There is generally a serving suggestion either by the manufacturer who's made it or in a book of caloric values. A tablespoon of mayonnaise, a tablespoon of olive oil. You want to consider their serving size, because normally a serving size is exactly supposed to be that, a serving size. The serving size that this manufacturer gave me was 100 grams. I don't really like working in grams. It's kind of an odd number for me. So I said, all right, no big deal. This is all I had. I had these calories, these carbs, I don't know if you can see it, for 100 grams. So I told myself, okay, well, I got 35 pounds. I've got to convert my grams to my pounds. So I figured out 1 pound is 454 grams. So if I got 100 grams as a serving, I got 454 grams. 1 pound tells me I've got 4.5 servings per pound. If I got 4.5 of these servings per 1 pound and I got 35 pounds, I'm taking 35 times my 4.5 to figure out for this daggum 35-pound box of split peas they sent me, which just says split peas, and you look it up and I got 100-gram serving, how I figure out what I got. I take this times 157.5. In that box, I've got 58,090 calories, 9,700 carbs, fiber, fat, yada, yada. Which this is awesome, by the way. I'm going to do a quick comparison, because when I did this, and I was kind of studying back and forth, I don't have any negative thing to say about any company, so please let me make that clear. But I just happened to take one. ReadyWise is a company. They were charging $120,000 for one of their $120 for one of their main kits, which was 13,400 calories of powder and chemicals. Harmony House. What I have here, you can go to Harmony House. If you are going to get some stuff, I'm going to send you to our YouTube channel if you would, because I get a small percentage of that. But you can, truth is, I want to empower you and encourage you to be healthy. That's my goal. If I can help Conrad and I, and you want to go to our YouTube channel where I get a couple percent, fine. What I have in store, I marked up 10%. So for $210, 120, 210, 13,400, 58,000 calories for 200 bucks. If you double that, that's more than you paid there, and I'm only got 26,000 calories, 27 almost, which is still half. It's less than half. And this is powder and chemicals, and this is whole food. This right here is, I think, why we're doing this class. And if you bought a bunch of this, no fret, it's not the end of the world. I'm a mercy person and encourager. I can help you combat that. We'll get some herbs, we'll get some veggies, we'll get some Metamucil or some. It's never the end of the world. There's always a but. So that's the comparison. So anyway, so let's keep going. And with the Harmony House, not just them, but dehydrated or freeze-dried, it's typically only whole foods, no fillers, great source of protein in your peas and your beans. Lots of micronutrients. Okay, real quick, we're gonna go through this. I had 25-pound box of pinto beans, same thing. I know my serving's 100 grams, it's the same math, 4.5. This one's only 25 pounds, so I'm only gonna take it times 25. This is my single serving, I've times it by 112. In that box, I've got 40,000. Didn't write all this out because in a second I'm gonna spin your head with some numbers. Fiber, 31 grams of fiber. And 100 gram serving of black beans. Okay, olive oil. I got 12 jugs for Connor and I in my kit. It's been 3 minutes, I had it written out. So I'm trying to figure out my macros that I've got sitting there. In these 12 3/4 gallon jugs, I know there's 12 cups in 3/4 of a gallon. A serving size for olive oil is typically a tablespoon. No use figuring out in a cup, no one's gonna drink a cup of olive oil. So I want to get it to how many servings I've got. 12 cups and 3/4 of a gallon. There are 16 tablespoons in a cup. So for one 3/4 gallon jug, it's 16 tablespoons times the 12 cups I got, gives me 192 tablespoons per jug. I got 12 jugs. It's kindergarten math. It's just something that sometimes we don't really think to go through. I got 192 times my 12 jugs. I got 2,304 servings of olive oil sitting in my kit for Connor and I. If one tablespoon serving is 116 calories with 13 grams of fat, no protein, no carbs, I've got my total for how many calories and a lot of good fat in that olive oil. We're getting the picture, right? Dark rye is a little tricky. I got a 40-pound bag of dark rye, healthiest grain on the planet. That's why I use it. That's why we have the success that we have. Diabetics come in the front door and like, oh, I heard I can eat everything. I always encourage them if they have their sugar monitor to please check it themselves. And so we know, and because dark rye digests so slow, even when you have real sweetener in it, it's the largest grain molecule. The body cannot digest it quickly. And you always want low glycemic. When you put sweeteners in biblical grains, ancient grains, they are still low glycemic. So my pound of, this is for Connor and I know that 1 pound is 454 grams. So I Google and I see that I got 127 grams in a cup. I'm no mathematician, so I had to like, okay, wait a minute. So what do I got to do here? Let me see. So I said, wait, I got to figure out how many cups I got in a pound, because my servings here at the bakery, I've always looked at my dark rye in 1 cup servings. So my head's going to a cup serving. I had 3.57 cups in a pound, so I was able to times it by 40 and realize that these servings in this bag are this many, which leads to here. This salmon lasts at least 5 years. I'm just trying to get to the spring. So their serving size is a 1/4 cup. There is 7 1/4 cups in a can. I've got 48 cans for 2 cases for Conrad and I. So here's my serving. I times it by 7 to figure out what I got in a can. I take that can times 48. I realize I'm sitting on, this is our kit right here. I'm sitting on 30,240 calories with 4,000 grams of good protein, not powdered protein, not even pea or bean protein, which some of you, Brad brought it up there today, isn't a complete protein. You have 9 essential amino acids, some say 10. You've heard beans and rice make a complete protein. True. Oats and quinoa are the 2 best grains with the greatest amino acid for grains portfolio. Okay, so here we go. So on the plane, I had to figure out what I had. You don't have to go into this depth, but it's kind of important you get a type of handle on it to figure out. I don't know how many kids you got. I don't know how many kids you got. But if you've got 20 people at the house, sometimes it doesn't take as much as you think. And then other times when you all of a sudden get up to numbers when you got a dozen or more people and you're talking 15 or 2,000 calories a day, all of a sudden it adds up quick. I wanted to see what I had. At the bottom of my kit in its entirety, I'm sitting on just over 500,000 calories. I've got over 57,000 carbs. I've got over 15,000 grams of fiber. I've got 36,000 grams of fat, 19,000 grams of protein. What does that mean? I didn't break this down for you the way I did for Connor and I, because this number right here is your caloric, what you're sitting on. Depending on how many calories a day you're wanting to eat, you might want 2,000. You might have a kid that's younger, or a 5-year-old kid that might only need 1,000 calories or 1,200 calories. An elderly that doesn't need as many calories. So if you're trying to figure out your calories, this number right here is golden. This will tell you what you're sitting on food-wise. If you want to take it to the next level and find out if your macros are balanced, you do this. You noticed that everything's in grams. You got your calories, but then your carbs, your fiber, your fat, and your protein are all in grams. The very first thing I said when we started was 1 gram of carbohydrates, 4 calories. So if I need to find out what percentages because if you can get a 0.5 gram per your body weight of protein, which needs to be assimilated daily, because when you go without protein, if you get a powder and your body's not really absorbing it, you will notice the effects of a protein deficiency within 72 hours. You'll be lethargic. All these guys that talk about it, and I'm not saying anything about anything when it comes to defense or fighting or whatever, you cannot fight. I have been an athlete my whole life. If you are not fueled right, you can't do what it is you want to do if you're not feeling good. So a 0.5 gram per pound of body weight of good protein is what you want to have. In a perfect world, I try and do balance across the board. 33% protein, 33% carbs, and 33% fat. In a survival situation without a refrigerator, it's almost impossible. So if you can get with good protein at least 10% or higher of protein that your body's going to assimilate, you're on track. So let's figure out where we're at. I got to figure out how many calories, because I know my calories. To figure out my percentage, I take my grams times 4 calories. This gives me my calories for my carbs. Fiber's a little bit different. This actually doesn't count as calories. Insoluble fiber actually works against it. That's why keto people love it. Fat, we know we got 9 calories per 1 gram, so I'm taking this number times 9 to get this number. Protein's only 4 to get this number. To find out my percentage, I take this divided by the bigger number, and this tells me. And Conrad's like, well, how come you got 104% there, Missy? Such is the imperfect world of bulk figuring. So we got 104% of 100%. So sorry, but that gives me an idea where I'm at. I didn't have my salmon in here, to be honest, at the numbers I had it. I knew I needed something besides just my peas, black beans, and pinto beans, even though they're really good in protein. I doubled my salmon to get to that number. And if someone like me who knows macronutrients is only hitting this number, if some of you took the time to look in your closets and actually figured out where you're at for protein for a family situation, this number is important. So that is how I came to figure out what it was I had. Knowing now that I've got 6 months of food, actually 194 days at 1,500 calories for Conrad and I will add to that for enjoyment alone. Fruit, dehydrated, canned, freeze-dried is actually best. It's a little bit more expensive. I'm gonna grab, because I own a bakery and I got about 1,500 pounds of demerara, I'm taking me a bag of demerara so I can put it in my oatmeal. None of this needs refrigeration. None of this needs refrigeration. When it came to trying to figure out the best way to talk about what's the smartest way to delegate your calories, Connor and I, we're married. We're going to tell each other in an event, married situation where we don't know how long, and we decided to go 1,500 calories a day. We know we got 6 months. I feel like that's safe. We would trust each other instead of vacuum sealing or even Ziplocking. I don't even need a vacuum seal it. I could Ziploc every 100 gram serving, or do the math to where, here, honey, here's your 1,500 calories for the day. You get 4 tablespoons of olive oil. You get 2 tablespoons of almond butter. That gets old real quick. So Connor and I have chose to 1,500 calories a day. All this food is balanced. Even if you feel like nothing but almond butter one day and you eat a jar, that's your almond butter. But that makes the most sense for us to try and be balanced, to add some other stuff to it. If you have a bigger family and you've got son-in-laws and cousins or whatever, and there's like a food vault, it might not be the smartest decision to say, hey, all 25 of us get 1,500 calories only, so we're going to trust everybody to eat only your calories. Whatever you guys decide, that is what I came to on the trip to Colorado. When I got back, I was able to tell Conrad, this is it.